Have you ever made a decision that felt right in the moment, only to realize months later you missed the one simple factor that explained everything? Have you ever been lost in a sea of data, convinced the answer must be complex, when a single simple principle was staring right at you? Do you know that feeling of working harder and harder on a problem, only to see your progress plateau? That tension between complexity and clarity has a structure. And for centuries, the world's best thinkers have used a specific set of tools to cut through it. They don't rely on raw intelligence alone. They use mental models. Think of them as the architectural blueprints for thinking. A mental model is a simplified representation of how something works in the real world. It's a lens you choose to look through. When you look at a complex problem, you can choose the lens of emotion, of bias, of fear, or you can choose a lens that has been proven to cut through noise. The genius isn't the person with the most information, but the person with the best frameworks to organize it. They have a whole workshop of these lenses, and they know exactly which one to pick up for the job at hand. Let's open the toolbox. First, Occam's razor. The rule states, the simplest explanation is usually the right one. Your website crashes. You could theorize about a coordinated hacker attack, a solar flare disrupting servers, or a bug in code you've never touched. Occam's razor asks you to shave away the complex fantasies. Did you just update a plugin? Did your hosting bill not get paid? Start there. We are drawn to dramatic stories, but reality is often boringly simple. This model saves time, money, and sanity by cutting through invented complexity to find the most probable cause. But here's the problem. Our brains hate simple. We are storytelling creatures. A simple answer feels unsatisfying, almost like it doesn't do justice to the importance of our problem. We want a villain, a twist, a grand narrative. So we build conspiracy theories about our coworkers. We imagine elaborate reasons for a friend's silence. We ignore the blinking check engine light and wonder if the car has a deeper spiritual blockage. Occam's razor is a discipline. It's the courage to be boring, to accept that the truth is often plain, and in that plainness, find powerful clarity. Now the 80-20th rule, or Pareto Principle. It reveals a breathtaking imbalance in our world. 80% of consequences come from 20% of causes. 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your clients. 80% of your happiness comes from 20% of your activities. 80% of the mess in your house comes from 20% of the stuff you own. This isn't just an observation. It's an operating manual. It means you can stop trying to fix everything. Your goal shifts from doing more to identifying the vital few, the 20%, and pouring your energy there. It's the art of strategic neglect, of focusing on the levers that actually move the world. Most people miss this. They spend their lives tinkering in the 80% zone. Answering every email, pleasing every person, cleaning every drawer, chasing every minor task on a to-do list. It feels productive. It feels like hard work, but it's the busy work of life. You are exhausted, yet your key projects stall. Your relationships feel shallow. Your business plateaus. Why? Because you are a gardener endlessly weeding the flower beds, while the single precious seed that could grow into a giant tree sits untouched in your pocket. The 80-20th rule forces you to find that seed. The third tool is the most counterintuitive, inversion. Instead of asking, how do I achieve success? You ask, how could I guarantee failure? Want a strong relationship? Don't just list the qualities of a good partner. List all the ways you could be a terrible one. Be dismissive, stop listening, take them for granted. Now, avoid those things. Building a successful business. Brainstorm every possible path to bankruptcy. Ignore customers, bleed cash on vanity projects, have a toxic culture. Inversion works because failure is often easier to visualize than success. By clearly seeing the cliffs, you naturally steer towards the open road. And this is where it gets worse. Our natural planning is hopelessly optimistic. We only look forward at the shining goal. We see the promotion, not the burnout that might come with it. We see the launched product, not the customer service nightmare we didn't plan for. We see the dream vacation, not the forgotten passports and missed flights. Inversion is a pre-mortem. It's sitting down before the journey and asking, what would kill this project? It feels pessimistic, but it's the highest form of optimism. It believes the outcome can be so good, it's worth protecting from every possible threat. But the real power isn't in using one model. It's in combining them. This is where genius-level thinking ignites. You face a failing project at work. Apply Inversion first. What would guarantee this project's total collapse? You list unclear goals, no team buy-in, scope creep. Then apply OCCM's razor. What's the simplest root of these problems? Probably one person's vague vision, communicated poorly. Finally, apply the 80/20th rule. What's the one action that would fix 80% of this? A single, brutally clear one-page document outlining the goal, owned by the team. You haven't just solved a symptom. You've dismantled the entire failure system and installed an engine for success. That's the mastery. This thinking isn't just for boardrooms. It's for your life. Feeling overwhelmed and unhappy? Apply the 80/20th rule to your calendar. What 20% of your time brings you 80% of your joy? Protect it fiercely. Cut the trivial 80% that drains you. Stuck in a recurring argument with a loved one? Use inversion. How could you make this argument permanently unresolvable? By never apologizing, by always assuming bad intent. Now do the opposite. Mental models turn life's chaos from a storm you endure into a landscape you can navigate. You become the cartographer of your own experience. A warning, though. The deepest trap is falling in love with just one model. Someone discovers the 80/20th rule and starts seeing everything as disposable, including people. They use Occam's razor to dismiss valid complexity, like mental health or systemic issues. They use inversion and become paralyzed by fear, seeing only pitfalls. A single lens distorts. The master thinker has a diverse toolkit. They know a hammer is for nails, a screwdriver for screws. They don't blame the world for not being made of nails. Your thinking needs the same versatility. So how do you start? You build a latticework. Don't try to memorize dozens of models at once. Start with these 3. Practice them deliberately for 1 week. Look at every minor frustration, a long line, a missed call, a messy desk, and run it through one model. What's the simplest explanation for this line? What 20% of this clutter causes 80% of the mess? How could I make this errand take twice as long? Then add a new model each month. Circle of competence. Second-order thinking. Probabilistic thinking. Each one interlocks with the others, strengthening the entire structure of your mind. Let's see a day through this new lens. You wake up tired. Old you, I'm just always tired. Latticework you. Apply Occam's razor. The simplest cause. You scrolled on your phone in bed for an hour last night. Solution. Charge phone outside bedroom. At work, your inbox is overwhelming. Old you, answer emails all morning. Latticework you, 80/20th rule. Which 2 to 3 emails represent 80% of the value or urgency? Answer those. Schedule time for the rest, or delete. A friend cancels plans. Old you, they're mad at me. Latticework you. Inversion plus Occam. Worst case assumption, they hate you. Simplest explanation, something came up. They'll reschedule. You text. No worries. Hope all's okay. Let's plan for next week. The day feels spacious, under control. It will feel unnatural at first. Your brain will rebel. It will scream that the simple answer is too easy, that you must consider every angle. It will cling to busywork because it feels like progress. It will refuse to look at failure paths because it's negative. That resistance is the sound of old wiring. You are trying to override a lifetime of cognitive autopilot. The first few times you reach for Occam's razor, instead of inventing a drama, it will feel like you're cheating, like you're not thinking hard enough. You are. You're thinking better. But here's the beautiful part. This skill compounds. Every time you use a model correctly, you save mental energy, make a slightly better decision, and avoid a small mistake. Those savings stack up day after day. A year from now, you won't just have a tidier desk or more productive morning. You'll have a fundamentally different relationship with reality. Problems won't look like impenetrable walls. They'll look like puzzles with known solution patterns. Uncertainty won't trigger anxiety. It will trigger curiosity about which model to apply. This is the compound interest of clarity, and it pays dividends for a lifetime. Your first assignment is this. Pick one model. Just one. For the next 7 days, make it your lens on the world. If you pick Occam's razor, challenge every complex worry with what's the simplest, most boring explanation. Write down what you find. You'll be shocked how often the answer was right in front of you, hidden by your own need for a more interesting story. This isn't about becoming a genius overnight. It's about taking the first, deliberate step off the well-worn path of reactive thinking and onto the trail of intentional thought. The mind of a master thinker isn't a roaring stadium of ideas. It's a quiet, well-organized workshop. On the walls hang trusted tools, each with a specific purpose. When chaos arrives at the door, a crisis, an opportunity, a paradox, there is no panic. There is a calm assessment, a walking to the wall, and selecting the right tool for the job. The noise of the world, the pressure to react, the seduction of drama, it all stays outside. Inside the workshop, there is only the clean sound of a model being applied, a problem being understood, and a path being cleared. This quiet is the sound of true control. This is the resolution. You are no longer at the mercy of your first thought, your strongest emotion, or the world's latest crisis. You have moved from being a passenger in your own mind to being its architect. The models of Occam, Pareto, and Inversion are your first reliable blueprints. That regret you felt at the beginning, the decision you missed, that was the old you, building on shaky ground. The new you builds on a latticework of understanding. You will still make mistakes, but they will be interesting mistakes, learning mistakes, not the repetitive mistakes of blind habit. So you face a choice right now. You can close this and return to the world of reactive thought, where problems feel personal and random. Or you can take that one model and for the next week, see what happens when you look at your world through a lens designed for clarity. The tools are here. The workshop is waiting. The only thing left to do is to pick one up and start building. So let's come back to that feeling we started with, that overwhelming world of complexity. Because the entire journey we've just taken wasn't about acquiring more information, but about finding a new kind of clarity. We started by realizing that genius-level thinking has a hidden architecture, built not on raw intelligence, but on simple, powerful tools. We learned to cut through the noise with Occam's razor, to stop hunting for the complicated solution when a simple one will do. Then we saw the 80-20th rule, which showed us how to focus on the few vital things that create most of our results, freeing us from the trap of the trivial 80%. And we practiced inversion, turning problems inside out to avoid failure by thinking backwards. We discovered that the real power comes from combining these models, building them into a personal latticework of mental tools that work everywhere, from your career to your relationships. It starts by feeling unnatural, a resistance to your brain's default wiring, but it compounds quietly into a profound clarity. Your mind doesn't need to be a roaring stadium of brilliant ideas. It can become a quiet workshop where you calmly architect your decisions, turning a world of chaos into one you can navigate with intention. The final choice, then, is simple. Will you leave the overwhelming noise as it is, or will you step into the quiet workshop and pick up your first tool?